Okay, good evening and welcome to Iyun, to Lean On, Simon Kufai, and Dal 174 Arachayim. We're talking about today about wine. If you're drinking wine in the middle of the meal, grape juice or wine, anything that warrants a bar priya gafen, because it's chashuv, it's kovea brach la'atzma, the Gemara says, because it's significant. Wine or grape juice are generally more expensive than other drinks. There's a complex process of making wine, even grape juice. They're important. They have their own bracha, bar priya gafen. So therefore, even though you washed, and normally other drinks you drink during the meal, you don't have to make a bracha. Wine, you do have to make a bracha in the middle of the meal. You don't have to make a bracha achrona. The Berkas HaMazon at the end of the meal exempts the wine or the grape juice from Bar Priya Gafen, from main shalosh. However, you have to make a bracha rishona. Now, there's two explanations what the Gemara means. When the Gemara says, Keva de chashivi, kovea bracha la'atzma, because it's significant wine, it's kovea bracha la'atzma, establishes its own bracha. So it doesn't mean because it's chashuv, right? Because wine is chashuv, it's a special thing, right? It's a special production, wine or grape juice. So it's kovea bracha la'atzmo. Kovea bracha la'atzmo means it's unique, it has its own bracha. Other drinks don't have their own bracha, they're all shahakol. Wine is the only drink which has bar bracha, and foods, right? There's the bar priadam, bar praetz, but the only drink that you have to make a separate bracha than shahakol is wine. So that's why it's significant. So that's why it makes a bracha b'natzbo. The other explanation, since it's chashuv, right, it's an important drink, it's a drink of honor. That's the explanation, I think. Drink of honor, so therefore it's kovei bracha la'atzmo. It tells you, therefore, in the middle of your meal, it's directly telling you the halacha. Therefore, in the middle of the meal, you have to make your own bracha. You can't be yotze with the other brachas of of the bread. The bread doesn't exempt, just even though the bracha on the pas exempts other drinks that you drink during the meal, water, Coca-Cola, iced tea, anything you drink during the meal, it would be exempted. So there's, I think, a lot of nafkaminas between these practical differences over here. For example, what about a cocktail or something like that, where you're putting some vodka in, or you're putting some rum in, or you're putting some gin in, or something like that, Or even on Shabbos, people have, the minute to drink scotch, only the best single malts, or, whiskey, right? The bourbon, the real Americans. When you're drinking these things, so you have to make a bracha on them in the middle of the meal. So it's seemingly, I think the Shulchan Aruch would say you don't have to make a bracha, because it's not bar priya gafen. But according to the second explanation, since it's chashuv, right, and I think specifically wine, I don't think grape juice you'd have to make a bracha. Grape juice is a drink that people drink to enjoy themselves, right? The difference is that bar priya gafen wine is an honorable drink. You don't drink it, right, as part of eating. It's a drink that you would drink independently of eating, right? When you go to the bar, you get a glass of wine, a glass of champagne. It's not necessarily in part of a meal. Coca-Cola you drink during, usually during a meal. Drink it to wash down your cholent, or whatever they say, or Pepsi to wash down the cholent. Other drinks, and I think the post can talk about, even if you're thirsty, right? The point is not whether you're thirsty now, whether you're drinking it to help digest the food or not. The point is that they're not drinks of honor. They're drinks to drink, because you're thirsty or because you want to digest the food. They're not important because they're not a drink of honor. They're a drink just to satisfy your thirst. Doesn't make it an honorable drink. Coca-Cola is not an honorable drink, right? Nestea is not an honorable drink. It helps you either because you're thirsty or because it helps you digest the food. But either way, it's not an important thing. But a cocktail, now I think it's not dafka yayin. It's not that of a bar priya gafen. Chashuv kovei bracha la'atzmo. It says yayin. I think it's wine. Any alcohol which is a significant price hike, right? Grape juice, maybe Kedem grape juice, different is expensive, but here in Israel at least. But I don't think grape juice would be included in this. I don't think we're going to make a bar priya gafen grape juice, because you drink it. I drink a lot of Kedem juice on Friday night, because I enjoy it. I enjoy drinking it. It tastes really good, but I don't drink it as a drink of importance. It's not a drink of importance. Wine is a drink of importance. Wine bottles can be very expensive. Champagne bottles, very expensive. If you drink a top shelf alcohol, it can be very expensive. So anytime it's a drink which is done for honor, so it's not part of the meal. It's something that's, it's just a don, make a l'chaim on, or something like that. So it's not part of the meal. So therefore, it's a bracha b'fnei atzmo, and that would include, so that it's a kula and a chumrah, meaning even something which is a shahakol, like single malt scotch. You really enjoy single malt scotch. You want to drink in the middle of the meal. You have to make a shahakol because it's not related to the meal. It's a bracha of honor, as opposed to if you're drinking Kedem grape juice, a bar priya gafen, you're drinking it to enjoy the meal with because it tastes good. So then you wouldn't have to make a bar priya gafen. That would be my chumrah and kula that would come out of this halacha, and I think that's really the correct explanation. Hope you enjoyed tonight's share. See you in the next one.